What are some recent events or highlights that you can tell me a little bit about regarding Telefilm's participation in Canadian films?
Well, if you look at the success that Canada, as a relatively small country, has had in the Oscar nominations, that's really something to be proud of. This year, in the Best Foreign Language Film category, we have Rebelle, which is known as War Witch in English, and we're really proud of this film. It also was nominated for multiple Canadian Screen Awards. Canada's done really well. We have been nominated for six films over the past 10 years. It's a fantastic record for Canada. In addition to that, Canadian films have been nominated in some of the other categories. So, for example, Away From Her was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, as well as for Best Actress. Eastern Promises received an actor award, and there are many other examples. When you think about Canadian talent, for example, the composer, Michael Dana, was nominated for his work in Life of Pi. So this is one of the wonderful things about Canada. We're only 35 million people, and look at the influence we have on the world stage in terms of films. It's a fantastic thing. Another very interesting thing that's happening is taking films such as Starbuck, which was a tremendous hit. It's a French language film. Many people think it was the most entertaining Canadian film of the past year or so. And Starbuck now is being remade under the auspices of DreamWorks, but by the same Canadian writer, director, and producer. So this is a fantastic thing. There was a smaller Canadian film from a few years ago called Amal, which was optioned by Oprah Winfrey's production company. And Oprah commissioned the same writers, Richie Maida and his brother, to develop a story that would be set in New York, but essentially the same story. So this is a very, very interesting thing that's developing.
Yeah, I was super excited to hear about Starbuck, now called The Delivery Man, in its American incarnation. We were really excited, and we're following it very closely because Ken Scott is directing it as well.
Yes.
And I thought, that's an enormous leap, and what a great success story.
Yes, it's a fantastic thing. I mean, largely we get excited at Telefilm about people who've chosen to remain based in Canada, and it's fine if they want to do some work either south of the border or in Europe or in other countries. That's great. But for somebody like Ken Scott, this is a great opportunity. I'm sure he'll be given many more opportunities in the future. Then you look at people like James Cameron. I mean, we kind of adopt him in a way. He is a Canadian, but he's had his entire career in the US. So that has a little bit of a different flavor.
Well, I see a huge trend now towards no longer us just shipping out our talent, but literally they're going back and forth between the two. They're having enormous success in America, and they're coming up and they're really making films that their hearts are completely committed into. And Jay Baruchel is a great example of that.
Yes. Well, I was just speaking at the Canadian Screen Awards nomination event to Wendy Crewson as an example. She's one of our terrific actresses, and she was talking about the fact that she is doing a Canadian series, and when she has time, she'll go do an American movie. So her home is here, her family is here, and she works in both countries, and she feels, and actually Telefilm would support it, that this is a fantastic thing.
This is the first Canadian Screen Awards. It used to be the Genies and the Geminis. Now they've amalgamated it all into one big event, as well as acknowledging web series. So could you tell me a little bit about what your thoughts are on that transition?
I think the transition will work well. The initial fear of some people in the community was that the feature film area would get a little bit dwarfed by television, because by definition there is more work being done on television, there's more funding for television. However, I think that the synergy is there, and I'm really optimistic that this is going to be a successful transition. In terms of the nominations themselves, another really interesting thing that hit me is that the Canadian Screen Awards, because of the volume of the high quality feature work being done in Canada, we could easily move, if the Academy wanted to a 10 pictures being nominated for Best Picture like the US Academy instead of the 5.
Yeah.
There were at least 10 fantastic Canadian films that were eligible for this year, and I'm sure the case will be the same for next year.
I have my list.
Good.
I wanted to know how audiences can find out more about Telefilm. Do you guys have websites? Are you on social media?
We are on Twitter, and we certainly have a website, which is telefilm.ca. All of our programs and guidelines are clearly set out on the website. And for people in the industry, we encourage people to sign up as a client. And when you sign up, which is very easy to do, I've done it myself, it takes about 10 seconds. What happens is that there's a menu of areas that interest you. So, for example, if you're interested in festivals, if you're interested in documentaries, if you're interested in feature films or television, you just push the appropriate button, and you will get important announcements directly to your inbox by email.
Fantastic. And are there some ways that audiences can connect with Telefilm?
Audiences could certainly become connected to Telefilm by checking out the website. Audiences could follow us on Twitter. But the main way that we actually want audiences to connect with us is to connect with the work. So in other words, please see, I'm going to look at the camera now.
Go for it.
Please go to at least one Canadian movie this month. And then if you like it, which I can almost promise that you will, please see another one a few months hence and make it a bit of a habit. We all have choices. We can't see everything, but see a Canadian film in the theater. And for other films, maybe you missed the theatrical run, you can check it out on iTunes, you can check it out on Netflix, you can watch it on pay television, on VOD, and so on, because Canadian films are everywhere.